Hello to everyone out there on the internet. If you have internet, I hope everybody's doing well this morning. I just was gonna hop on here real quick, and these are basically more comments than anything else. I mean, it doesn't amount to anything really, but mainstream media is reporting that this genocidal maniac from another country is due to arrive here on Tuesday in the United States to speak with and visit with, I'll refer to him as Mr. Potato Head. This is on this coming Tuesday. So I have a question about this. Let me adjust this a little bit here. I have a question about this. Didn't the media just report that Mr. Potato Head is in self isolation due to having the bug? This is his disappearing act. Isn't this what I mean, did anybody else hear that? That he had the bug and he's self isolating? Wow, that will talk about a quick recovery. And you're going to be meeting with another head of state and putting them in risk of catching something that you were not only had the jab for, but you had the booster to go with it, and you still got the bug. Speaking of the bug, I did a reading well before any of this bizarre, creepy stuff started going down in 2020 with the bug. It's in my videos here on YouTube. I think it's the title is The Bug is Here or something like that. That reading was done well in advance of when that hit. So if anybody has an interest, you can go back and take a look at that reading that I did. I believe that was a tarot card reading, but whatever. I had said that this bug was here, but that's a side note. So this genocidal maniac is coming to the United States on Tuesday to visit with Mr. Potato Head and address Congress. Now, question would be, why would a foreign leader be addressing the United States Congress? It's weird. I have to say, if anybody's ever done any research, it's weird, man. It's like, and the media and this is mainstream media I'm talking about, have constantly been saying that they're going to try to beat a record of standing ovations for this maniac from, I guess it was 54 times the last time he addressed our Congress to up to 55, or it could be 55 to 65. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It is absolutely bizarre. Why? And here's another thing. If there is a foreign leader addressing the People's Congress, shouldn't all of these congressional members be listed as foreign agents? I'm just asking. I mean, these are more questions and comments, and I mean, it's not, because I mean, I have my own thoughts about this, but you have to be careful what you say, these days. but it is odd. I mean, if you are, it is almost like he is going to be dictating to Congress. If if any of you, and I'm not going to be able to stomach it to watch it, I'm sure that I will not be able to avoid um, seeing excerpts of this around and all of that or whatever of his address. I guarantee you that it is going to be more of a lecture. It is going to be a lecture. Wait and see what I tell you. And listen to it. I'm not going to listen to it, but I'm sure I'm going to hear a little bit of it. I can tell you that dude, the maniac, he is going to be standing in front of the people's Congress and lecturing them. And the, maybe he brought his big fat checkbook with him. Not really, because no money comes from them. It's the other way around. However, it really does. There are certain, and you can't even say the acronyms anymore because the algorithms will pick it up, which it doesn't matter. This isn't anything that isn't being reported by mainstream media, although mainstream media wouldn't completely get shut down or something. But there is money coming from, I'll call them the chosen ones. There is money coming from them, but it's like it never comes from this particular country. It's always money from our country in the United States going to them. However, they have a very big lobby with very, very deep pockets. I wonder how many of these Congress men and women are going to be taking luxury vacations soon after this dictation by this genocidal maniac. And anybody that would say, I mean, as horrible as this thing that these people under oppression since 1948 committed on this date, in October last year, in no way justifies the indiscriminate killing of unarmed civilians. And I'm making a prediction here. The mainstream media is reporting that polio has been found in this particular region, a very small 25-mile section. You can't even say the name of anything anymore. Everything is so weird. You can't even fucking say the name of it. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, well, you think I'm, nuts or whatever. Here is my prediction with that. This polio that is being found in the sewage that is running through where these like 2 million people are basically trapped and being butchered and slaughtered. There is now polio being found in the raw sewage that is running through the streets. And last night it came to me. I said to myself, what if this genocidal, maniacal state is not committing biological warfare on a civilian population? And if you think that all these countries do not have all these diseases and viruses and bacteriums and all of these things in storage somewhere, well, think again, because I'm pretty sure they do. What are we going to hear coming up? Wait, with this polio thing, mainstream media reported that this genocidal, uh, they call it a defense. It's more like something more like the SS in the Ukraine or something, where you just go and kill a bunch of people with no reprisals, are going to be immunized for polio. The entire killing squads that are in this 25-mile region, the plot thickens because they are going to immunize these killing squads because their government is the one that has released this polio into that region. Now, whether or not this can ever be verified, because this little terrorist country that is committing these genocides won't allow any type of inspections to come about. But polio is a very serious thing. Talk about disabling, and it's very contagious. Talk about disabling an entire population and possibly for generations to come. Because, see, in the study of epigenetics, this data can be stored in your DNA, in your cells. You know what I mean? So this could be a generational thing. Talk about a way of mass, um, what is their phrase that they like to use and they'll never let the world forget it? Systematic mass murder. Talk about that on a generational level. Now, sticking with the present, it is a serious thing. They gonna um immunize their killing squads against polio. Why would they do that? Because their government is the one that released the stuff into that small 25-mile area on unarmed civilians. Now there was a recent uh, ruling by this international court, which has no way of enforcing anything or whatever. It's really, in my opinion, needs to be disbanded because they're up there doing this here and they have no enforcement capabilities. I hear the other one does, and again, you have to be careful with these acronyms. Otherwise, this will never see the light of day. This video that I'm making, but it's, ugh, I get a headache thinking about this stuff, man, because if anybody had history, see, getting back to that, I kind of lost my train of thought, but let me get back to this. That head maniac that is coming here on Tuesday, he quickly released a response about what this international court's verdict was. And he basically said, and it was so interesting because, see, this is something, whatever they are saying, it is just the opposite. It's this inversion thing. It's this, it is inversion of the truth and reality. But he said, and I did listen to this. I came across a clip of it. Excuse me. I came across a clip of this somewhere of him saying that historically that is their land. And of course, he is saying that based on their God. Well, hey, you know what? What if my God does not agree with your God? But that starts to get religious and biblical. It as absurd as that whole thing is. I mean, like, really, God is going to choose one group of people over another? And I'll add something real quickly to that part. It is very interesting that the ultra orthodox of that group of people actually say there should not be ever a country for that group of people because of something that they did. And God said, you cannot have and you will never have your own country. Now, this is the ultra orthodox sect of that religion that is totally against that state. Let me get historical here. For anybody that's done their homework, when this genocidal maniac used the word history, historical, their historical right. Let me, for those of you that didn't do your homework last night, let me update you on something. And if you don't start doing research right now, they're scrubbing all of this information. I know it because I started studying this stuff when I was in my 20s. I have over 40 years of research into this stuff. Plus, I'm very intuitive. But let me say this historical thing, leaving the religion out of this part. This is like political, geopolitical stuff. Before 1948 and the Balfour Declaration, when another country gave someone else's land to this particular terrorist group, and even maybe even before World War One, this process of finding a homeland had started with this group of people. One of the first places that they tried for their homeland, get this, Uganda in Africa. You can't make this stuff up. And it still may be available out there, but believe me, they're scrubbing the internet of any type of real information and rewriting history. One of the first places this is where how this maniac inverts everything, because historically the first place they tried was Uganda in Africa. They went to the Ugandan government and they were like, we want a little part of a place here where we can build our homeland. Okay? Well, after some great deal of thought, the Ugandan government said, no, thank you. We're not interested. It gets better. After that didn't work, get this, they moved on to the state of Texas in the United States, and they were wanting a section in western Texas for their homeland. Okay? Well, the political people and probably the residents of Texas said, well, look, you know what? We're doing pretty good here in Texas. We don't think we need a country within our state that is already in a country, but thank you, but no thank you. That's two examples of their historical homeland thing. It is such a lie. Everything that comes out of these people's mouths is so inverted and twisted and outright lies. But see, what they did is they are sucking in this religious thing that it was promised to them. Well, promised to them by God. Maybe their God, maybe they have a different God than the other people on earth. I'm just saying, who's to say? Maybe they do, and they probably do, but that's just my opinion. And so, excuse me, this is getting pretty long. Let me finish up this video. Well, historical, our historical right to our homeland. See, when they this historical connection to this place that they're occupying now currently and killing everybody that is not a part of their group. This whole religious aspect of this did not come around until they were given this stolen land by another country, stolen from another group of people, and given the land as their homeland. This is when the religious references start coming up about it was promised to them. But you have to wonder to yourself why the ultra orthodox sect of that religion has no, I mean, they live there, but they say they can only live there, that their God said they will never and can never have their own country, their own, it is just, and that is coming from the most right wing part of that religion. I mean, actually, those ultra orthodox will spit on a Christian, just in case you ain't done your homework on that. They're opposed to that, though, that group of having a country because biblically they believe that God said they couldn't. Doesn't mean they're not going to spit on a Christian. I'll say uh, a non person of their group. But see, this is how they invert it, and a lot of people do not know that they attempted to set up homelands in other countries before finally in 1948, under no doubt a lot of money transferring hands, was giving someone else's land. But whether it is biblical or not, you go down a rabbit hole with that because people can interpret things every kind of way. And that is not really the point of this. What I'm getting at is just that they tried to set up their homeland several times in several different countries before this was given to them. And this is the point I'm trying to make about this maniac's response to the international court's ruling a couple days ago about their historical right He forgot about the Ugandan country in Africa, and he forgot about the part about West Texas in the United States. See, they're just lying, and he's going to come over, and I'm going to end this up. I'm 25 minutes. I'm too long here. Wait, somebody out there is going to listen to the way this guy talks to the Congress that is supposed to be working for the United States citizens, I guess, which, is of course absurd to believe that, but let's just assume that this is true. Listen to the way he speaks to them, and they're going to be getting, 55, 56, 57, 60 standing ovations to a foreign head of state. This Maniac is going to be dictating to them. I guarantee you, I am like visualizing this in my head and hearing it already, that he is basically going to be giving them the what for. He is going to be telling them exactly what is about to come down. And it probably is in the very near future. It doesn't mean that it will last, because there's going to be many problems that is going to come around in that area of the world. However, that does not mean that he is not going to give the United States Congress the what for and dictate to them. Pay attention the way, if anybody watches that, pay attention the way he talks to them, speaks to them, his tone and his body language. Pay attention to his body language and his tone of voice. You'll find out it is less of a two-sided discussion and more of a lecture dictating. Wait and see. And another thing to keep an eye on is this polio thing. And you heard it from me. When I mentioned this video about the bug, that didn't have anything to do with the polio thing. That was at the time, which I didn't know, was this thing that they put us through since 2020. Some of you probably are aware of it. The world is aware of it. But this new thing with the polio, pay attention to it, because that did not just surface out of nowhere. And I am of the opinion, this is just my opinion, that that was intentionally released by that terrorist group, mass murdering, genocidal maniacs, onto that unarmed civilian population. Whether or not the truth of this ever sees the light of day is another question. But anyways, these are only my thoughts, my opinions. I give out what actually these people actually say. So, I'm not instigating anything. All I'm doing is repeating what I hear them say and what used to be history before history is rewritten and everything, which I happen to remember because I've been a researcher since my teens. So, it's been a few days. Well, that's it. This video went way too long. I'm sorry. Everyone have a great day. Be safe out there.